welcome to the Geeky Girls Knit Podcast. I'm Cece, also known as Java Pearl.
I'm Jeremy, also known as Tamara Stash a Bit Weird.
And we're glad to have you today. Today is Wednesday, the 20th of January, 2016, and this is episode 176. We'd like to say a big welcome back. We love you guys. You're supposed to smile.
I am smiling.
Okay. To all our returning viewers, and a big hiya to any new viewers. Thanks for giving us a shot. We hope you enjoyed the show. Dammy, we had a couple people introduce themselves this week in the podcast group around Ravelry. I lost the words. Because I was thinking, they're both from the same state, but not the same areas. But it was really funny that they both joined at the same time. I thought it was interesting. So why don't you give them a shout out?
Okay. Brian, who is Brian Knits 12 from Virginia, and Charity, who is Scrap Fair from Virginia.
Welcome, guys. So if somebody's not a member of our Ravelry group, what should they do and why?
You should join and introduce yourself in our introductions thread, because we will give you a shout out on our next episode, and you can participate in our giveaways and cals.
That's right. Well, we have a lot to talk about, as you can see from the shelf behind us, and some emotional things in television. I'll try not to cry. Okay? But I do sometimes. So we probably should get started, or whatever, something. Here we go.
Now we're going to talk about what's on our needles.
So what's on your needles, Jamie?
A super secret coffee shawl. You want to tell them?
Yes. So everything that Dammy has been working on and has finished is the samples for my book, Coffee with CC, a 7-pattern caffeine-inspired knitting collection, which will be out in mid-March. It'll be premiering at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, but pre-orders for the book start next week, which is really exciting. So Dammy is working furiously to try to get all the samples done for our photo shoot, which is in like 3 weeks, I think. So we're working madly behind the scenes on that. But that's what she's knitting, and that's what she's not showing you. But my hope is to be able to give the podcast viewers a sneak peek before the book releases. Would that be fun? Would y'all like that? So it'll probably be maybe in the beginning of March, I'm thinking. So, okay, we'll go ahead and talk about what is on the needles, though.
A super secret coffee shawl. It's on US 2.53 millimeters, and the yarn is the Rainbow Heirloom Lush Light and the Killer Flamingo Apparition and Blue Raspberry colorways.
They're getting smaller.
Yes.
You should weigh them just to see how much is left on all of them. Because it's going to be a big shawl, because it was 300 gram skeins of yarn. But I love how it's turning out. It's an asymmetrical shawl, and it's beautiful. Perfect for going to a coffee shop. All right, anything else on your needles?
Nope. So what's on your needles?
I have 3 things on the needles. First up, in my Winnie the Pooh huge bag, which I've had to stop hanging up on the wall because it's gotten so heavy that it's pulling on the strap. So it sits on the floor beside my chair now. This is my zigzag blanket, and I finished the 13th stripe last night. In fact, I'm going to put a picture here because that way you can see like the full thing laid out, because it's hard to show because it's so big on here. So here's the picture. Okay, so I finished my 13th stripe last night, which was a combination of Batat dyed yarn in the Hullabaloo colorway. It was from the Golden Skein. I did some New Year's socks out of it in beginning of 2015, I think. And I also had to use some Worcestershire Spinner's Signature 4-ply.
Poppies.
In the Poppy Seed colorway. So that was the end of the 13th stripe, and I have cast on the 14th. So I figured out that I have several skeins that are not quite enough to do a full stripe by themselves, but if I mix and match and pair them with things, it works. So this new stripe is going to have this is Rainbow Heirloom. I'm looking in the wrong bag. Hold on, sorry for the crinkling. Rainbow Heirloom, that's not the right label. Rainbow Heirloom Twinkle Light, which is silk and merino in the Fluffy Bunny colorway. So that's what where did it go? That's what it started with. And then just a few minutes ago, I did this zigzag, which is Madeline Tosh Tosh Sock in the Pop Rocks colorway. And the other yarns that will be in this stripe as well will be, let me get the yarn, this yarn, which I used, that's closer to the color, holding it back there. We've had to turn on the overhead light because it's kind of a gray day here today. I used this in my Stripy Sleeves of Warmth, as well as several other projects. But this is Crocodile, Knit 1, Crochet 2 Crocodile in the Candy colorway. And I will be also using, can you see the sparkles on that sequence? I'll be using this, which is Lucci Yarns in the Cranberry colorway, which that is not cranberry, that is hot pink, fuchsia. So those will be the stripe, the next stripe that I'm working on. So there's that. And then I'm continuing to work on my puntilla sweater, which, oh, I didn't say who that was by. That's the 10 stitch zigzag pattern by Frankie Brown, and it's on US 4's 3.5 mil needles. And all the colorways that I'm using are on my project page. I'm adding them as I start the stripes. So now back to my puntilla sweater. This is a pattern by Joji Locatelli. It's on US 3's 2.5 mil needles and US 5's 3.75 mil needles. And right now I'm knitting with Knitting in France Sparkles in the Something About Cece colorway. I don't think you can see. No. And I'll be doing the lace edging in Ripples Crafts hand-dyed yarns in the Pequeen colorway. I made a lot of progress, you guys, this week, because now I'm knitting in the round. You want to help me hold that? So where that marker is right there, I had to finish the front of it down to the armhole, into the armhole, which was probably right about here. And then I started working in the round, and I've knit all that. So it's meant to be oversized and boxy. So I have to continue knitting in the round to like, I want to say like 14.5 inches, and I probably have maybe 4.5 right now. I should finish, last night I knit 10 grams of this, because it's so much faster because I'm just knitting in the round instead of knitting flat. I should finish this second ball of yarn before next week's podcast. And I have 5 of those pink ones. So, and then it fell on the floor. Oops. The last thing I'm working on is a pair of socks. This is from my free vanilla cappuccino sock pattern on Ravelry. And it's on US 1.5, 2.5 bill needles. And the yarn, which is a little bit dark, that's probably closer to it, is Ginger's Hand Dyed Swell You Sock in the Puffin colorway. This was one of 2 colorways that Ginger Twist Studio Jess did for the Geeky Puffin Knit Palooza retreat that we had back in October. And so here is my progress on the sock. I love how it's striping it. Isn't that fabulous? Now this is not a sock for me. This is going to be a pair of socks for my friend Kelly, who is Kelly Cron on Ravelry. She and I know each other from college, and then we reconnected on Facebook, and I convinced her she needed to learn how to knit. She knew how to crochet, but what we're doing is she got a project bag for me, and I'm knitting a pair of socks for her, and we're going to have a swap. So I am working on these. Her feet are about 1 inch longer than mine, so I have to go a little bit more before I do the heel. But this is knitting up fast, and I love how it's turning out. And that's everything that's on my needles.
Okay.
Yep. Well, we have some FOs,
Yep.
So we should move on to the next segment.
Now we're going to talk about our finished projects.
Yes. So, Dammy, what did you finish this week?
I finished, well, the first sock of Super Secret Coffee Socks 3. They were on US 1.5, 2.5 millimeters, and the yarn is the Uncommon Thread Tough Sock in the Nutcracker colorway. So
Yes.
There's the bottom of the foot.
Because you can't see the pattern. But it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love how it turned out. It's really fun. So your plan is to just work monogamously on the shawl, and then if you have time, knit second socks before a photo shoot. But if not, we have one sock, and so that's okay. All right, did you finish anything else?
No. So, what did you finish?
I finished a couple things this week. Here is my third preemie hat for 2016. The light's washing it out a little bit. That's probably closer to the colors. This is from my free top-down preemie hat pattern on Ravelry. I did this on US 6s, 4mm needles. I started out using King Cole Merino Blend DK in the silver and dusky pink colorway, but I ran out of the dusky pink because I was using leftovers. So I added in King Cole Bounty Erin, which I know it's a different weight, but as little as I had to use, it didn't affect it that much, in the pink mist colorway. So can you see where I had to change it? See, it's pretty close. So I think if I hadn't pointed it out to you, you probably wouldn't know, because like from here, you can't tell, right? Yeah. And with a lovely squishy pom-pom. And then the other thing I finished was my first pair of socks for the year. My goal this year is to knit 12 pairs of socks for me, so 1 pair a month on average, and then at least 5 pairs of socks for other people, possibly more. So this is, like I said previously, from my Vanilla Cappuccino sock pattern on Ravelry, which is a free pattern if you join my Java Pearl Designs newsletter. And it's on US 1.5 2.5mm needles, and the yarn is Third Vault Yarns Ships Mechanic Sock in the Faster Than Light colorway. How fabulous are these? I love them, love them. I love the swirls. I know this is not my normal colors, but I love it. So this is fabulous yarn, and I highly recommend that you get it. Lola is the dyer, and she's based in London, and it's fabulous. Thank you, Lola, for the yarn, because I love it. So my first pair of socks for me for this year. 1 down, 11 to go. Next up on the needles will probably be either the strawberries and cream yarn from Knitting in France, or the yarn left over from Pandia's Jewels when we did the Also I Can Kill You With My Brain kits, the Firefly kits. And I think what I'm going to do on whichever one of those, actually probably on both of them whenever I knit them, is I have this pink yarn right here, which I don't even know what it is, but I know it's sock yarn. I used it for something. But I might do heels, toes, cuffs in that, because that way I would make sure I have enough yarn, because since I like my socks tall, yeah, the cuffs have to fold up over the top when we block them. So, yep, that's everything that I finished this week. Well, let's talk about some yummies. And now it's time for our favorite part of the show, Yummies. What are Yummies, Merrick?
Yummies are our current favorite things we like, things we want to talk to you about.
Yummies. Sorry, Danny. I'm trying. I was doing really good, wasn't I? Yeah. So first up, we had some fun with a podcast viewer this week. So Lucy, who is Lucy Goose 88, came up to Edinburgh for something with her partner. I don't remember. I think he was speaking at a conference, wasn't he? I think so. I think that's what he's doing there. Here. So her birthday was on Sunday, and so they made a little fun trip out of it. But we met up with her on Saturday, and we went to Manor House Bakery, which is one of my favorites. They have such yummy cakes, and they do gluten-free. So I had a lemon and almond cake with a mocha to drink. And what did you have?
A chocolate meringue.
Yeah, chocolate meringue with a mocha.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then we popped around the corner to Ginger Twist Studio and visited with Jess, and Lucy bought some lovely yarn. It was scrumptious. And I was very good and didn't buy any yarn. But then we sat in Jess's shop and chit-chatted for gosh, probably about an hour and a half or so. And then it started snowing. Fabulous, and it just started snowing harder and harder as we came home. And then so we got our best snowfall that we've had since we moved here. Yeah, it was fabulous. Somebody built a wee little snowman outside. It was so cute, so cute. So we had a lovely time with Lucy. We really enjoyed it, and I just spoke with her this morning online, and she had a great time. Were able to do some fun stuff for her birthday on Sunday, so that was pretty cool. So, yay! So if any of y'all are ever coming to Edinburgh, let us know, because we would love to meet up with you if it fits into our schedule. So that was fun. So thanks for visiting with us, Lucy. Now, as I said, we went to Jess's shop, and I picked up a couple of things. No yarn. I was so good. No yarn until Edinburgh Yarn Festival. Okay? So, I picked up, are you ready for this? The one regular pom-pom maker from Clover that I did not have. Are you ready? This pom-pom maker makes a 4.5 inch, 115 millimeter diameter. Is that fabulous? I haven't even taken it out of the package. Oh, how cool. Create a multicolored pom-pom in minutes using a measuring scale on the arches. That's cool. I don't have that on any of the other ones. So now I need to make something so I can make a ginormous pom-pom. I think this pom-pom would be too big for Lola, for my niece. But it would be fabulous. Can you imagine how much yarn it's going to take to make a pom-pom this big? A lot of yarn. So I picked that up, and we picked up a bottle of Eucalyptus No Rinse Delicate Wash because we were about out of wash for our hand knits. And then I also picked up a set of knitting needles, but not for me. These are the Highest Sharps US 1.5 2.5 mil needles, 32 inches, 80 centimeters for my friend Katie. I think I talked about at Christmas, I helped her start a sock, but she didn't have any of those size needles to do the toe on, because then she had the Zooms to do it, so she borrowed mine, so I picked up a set of those for her. So, yay. We got a fun box in the post this week from Catherine, who is Tia and Kat on Ravelry, and she she had contacted us asking if she could donate something for prizes for the podcast, and we said yes, of course. And so she sent 4 things, and we're going to use them for prizes. So let's see, there's 2 Bernat pom-poms that are bright green and coral, and they're so soft. I love them. There's a little hole so you can touch them. So there's those 2, and then there's also Lion Brand pom-poms in the Pink Lady, hello, and Black Cat colorways. So I'm trying to remember which is which. I think we're going to use for the Spring Cow the bright green and the Pink Lady, and then the coral and the Black Cat are going to be prizes for the 52 Weeks of Charity Cow. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much to Catherine for sending those. We're excited for them to be prizes, and they're so squishy. So squishy soft. I won't promise that they have not been tested by Dammy and I to make sure that they are soft enough to send to somebody for a prize. We will sacrifice and test them for you.
Nope.
Okay. Then I got another parcel in the post this week from Amy of Amy's Not Dead Yet. She's on Etsy, amy'snotdeadyet.etsy.com. She's done several giveaways for us, and she's lovely. And so she's not a knitter, but she's friends with lots of knitters. And some of my patterns that had released recently, she thought would be a good fit for one of her friends. So I gifted patterns to her friend for Christmas gift, and she sent me a piece of art. Actually, more than one piece of art. So, I already said that. So first up, she drew this as the thank you note in the parcel. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, maybe. It's a TARDIS. How fun is that? I might have you, since you are such an amazing drawer, go over it. In ink. We'll talk about it, because I'd love it to be a little more visual, to be able to see it. And then this is the piece of art that she sent for me. So it says, if you were a character in a story, you'd love you for your quirks and flaws. There's this lovely lady in a book. Isn't that fabulous? So I've been very, very careful with it so I could show it to y'all. And then once we're done podcasting, I will hang it up. I was like, I don't want it to get anything like that. So thank you, Amy. And I know she has those in her shop if you like it and want to purchase one. I already know where it's going on our wall. Right over there. Because there's a blank space right there. Gosh, I'm like talking so much. I'm going to make you talk more later.
Oh.
One of my patterns, as I talk some more, let me get a little sip of water. One of my patterns, one of my Doctor Who patterns came out of exclusivity this week. And so it is now available for sale on Ravelry. This is my Mr. Smith I Need You socks. So this is based on Sarah Jane. There's this lovely lattice pattern on the front. And then on the back, there's a lace pattern for time travel and for how she keeps intersecting the Doctor's life. I love this yarn. It's so pretty. In fact, that's it right there. I think I'll probably knit some socks for me in the autumn because it really reminds me of autumn. So I'm putting this thing on the screen because I have coupon codes right now. So through the 23rd of January, which is, today's the 20th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah. Through Saturday, you can save 25% on the sock pattern with the code Mr. Smith. So capital M, lowercase r, capital S, lowercase M-I-T-H, Mr. Smith. Or if you want to get this pattern in the Doctor Who Companion Sock Club 3rd edition ebook, you can save 10% also through the 23rd of January with the code, all capitals, DWCSC3. That stands for Doctor Who Companion Sock Club 3. So, yeah, I love this pattern. I love how it just works so well with this yarn. This yarn was exclusive to the Doctor Who Companion Sock Club 3rd edition from Julia of Pandia's Jewels. So, get your sock patterns while you can get it at a discount. Okay. It's okay. I wanted to make sure it didn't get bent. Okay. Why don't you tell us, do we have anything else that we missed? Okay. Why don't you tell us about hashtag GGKCraftyPad?
It stands for Geeky Girls Knit Crafty Photo a Day Challenge. We have a list of prompts for each month. So you take a picture for the prompt, take a picture related to the prompt for that day and post it anywhere you like. But we pick our favorites from Instagram. That's
right. So January has been kind of a mixture of New Year's stuff and just kind of normal knitting stuff. Like, for example, today when we're recording this, today's is a recent FO, recent finished object. So I took a picture of my sock yarn blanket that I showed y'all earlier because I finished the stripe on it. So what are we about to show them?
2 photos from us that we liked and 5 photos from other people that we liked.
So here come the photos. So those were our favorite photos. Great job, everybody. So it's never too late to participate. Just check out the prompt, take a picture, post it on Instagram. Make sure you use the hashtag GGKCraftyPad because that's how we find the pictures, and yours might get chosen. All right, Dammy, why don't you tell us about the event we'll be attending in March?
It is Edinburgh Yarn Festival on the 18th and 19th of March here in Edinburgh.
That's the name. And I will be vending there, as I mentioned earlier, with my new Coffee with CC book. And I will be sharing a booth with Sam of Knit Run Dig Project Bags. So I'm very excited about that. I need to find some time to like check out all the vendors so that I can see who I need to make sure I get to their booth. And you need to find what sweater pattern you're going to do, so we can find yarn so that you can get it at EYF. So, because that was one of the things we gifted to her for her birthday was a sweater quantity of yarn, but she just hasn't decided which sweater yet. So, that means we can't buy it yet. Thusly. All right, well, I think that's everything for right now, so let's move on to the next segment.
Now we're going to talk about what we're reading and watching.
Because we're not listening to anything.
No.
Well, actually, I have been listening to the Adele 25 album.
On repeat.
On repeat, yes. Because I love it. But let's talk about reading. So what are you reading right now?
I'm reading Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte.
What would you like to say about it?
It's good so far.
How far in are you?
Not very far. I'm still in the first quarter.
Okay. And are you still reading Shakespeare for School?
Yes.
Still the same play, or have you moved on to something else?
Well, we finished Midsummer Night's Dream, which I had read before.
Okay.
And now I'm reading sonnets. I don't know if I'm reading any more plays.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Are you reading anything else?
Nope.
Alright. Well, I'm reading The Liturgical Year, The Spiraling Adventure of the Spiritual Life by Joan Chittister. And I am just a hair away from being 3/4 way done with the book, 75% done with the book. I'm like at 73.75 or something. So if I keep reading it at the pace I'm reading, I will be done before the end of the month, which is great. And then fiction-wise, I was reading the Glamorist History series by Mary Robinette Kowal, and I finished reading Glamour in Glass, Without Summer, and Valor and Vanity. There's another new one, but the price on it is still pretty high, so I'll wait till it goes down in price. And I really enjoyed those. They're really, really good. I think you would enjoy them, so you'll have to read them sometime. And then I've been reading some other just like random mysteries books that were free on Amazon, and none of them are worth mentioning. So, all right, well, let's talk about some TV. So we watched some movies this week, Dammy. Do you want to talk?
That's not TV.
We watched it on the TV. Well, it's not a TV. We watched it on the computer monitor.
Yeah.
Let's talk about movies first. So you want to talk about the first couple?
We watched Chicago and Funny Face.
So talk to us about them.
I liked them.
You have to talk louder than that. They can't hear you.
I liked them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything else you want to say about it?
What do you want to say about it?
I enjoyed them. I'd seen them both before, so. Yeah. All that jazz. You want to say anything else about these musicals?
No.
So this is like our make sure that Dammy has seen all of the important musicals thing. Yes. We have several more on our list. Mm-hmm. It's just we have to find time when we can watch them like in a whole block of time. And that doesn't always happen right now with everything that's going on. So the hubs and I watched Transformers Age of Extinction, which was about 2 hours longer than it needed to be, in my opinion. It was almost 3 hours long.
It was a Michael Bay movie, so that meant lots of unnecessary explosions. Yes.
I was ready for it to be done. I was like, please, can this just be over? Please, I don't want to watch anymore. Please, can it be over?
You could have just stopped.
But the hubs was enjoying it, I think. So I kept watching. I was just like, thank God for knitting. I was knitting away. And then, oh my gosh, I've added a new movie to my list of favorites. It is About Time, and it's got Rachel McAdams and begins with a D. Gleason is his last name.
Domhnall Gleeson?
Mm-hmm.
He was in Star Wars.
Yes.
He was General Hux.
Yes. So the kind of...
Why didn't you just say that at first? You would have got me. I would have been like, okay, yeah, I'll watch this.
Yes, I'm telling you. I told her after I watched it, you have to watch this with me.
I was just kind of like, okay. I didn't tell you Domhnall Gleeson was in it.
I thought I did. I must have told the hubs.
No.
Oh, sorry. So, what the kind of premise of the movie is this guy, I can't remember what his character's
Domhnall
name is.
Gleeson.
Yeah, but I can't remember his character's name.
General Hux.
That's still not his character's name in this. I want to say it's Tim, but that may not be right.
Tim in time.
Yeah. So every male in his family, once they turn 21, they can travel back in time, but only within their own timeline, and only to events that they remember. And so it's a romantic comedy movie, but it has that time travel element into it. So, you know, it's he like is living, and then he like likes a girl, but he messes up, so he goes back in time to try to fix his interactions with this girl, and then he meets this girl that he really likes, but he goes back in time to fix something else. So he changes something in his timeline, and it ends up he doesn't meet the girl, and so then he's having to mess with his timeline to make sure he meets her. And yeah, so it was really good. Cried, so many tears. Oh my gosh. It was so good. So you've got to watch it with me because it was so good. I recommend it. There is a little adult content. A little more than a little, but I'd be fine with you watching it. But just because we are a family-friendly show, I would not watch it with a younger child in the room. Okay? Okay. That's all the movies, so why don't we talk about television?
We are rewatching Season 4 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Season 2 of Star Trek Voyager.
Yes. I can't remember.
We got to James Bond episode.
Oh, that's
Deep
right, I
Space
forgot.
Nine.
Yeah, that was a good one. I liked that one.
Yeah.
And we also got to the Changelings on Earth storyline. I really liked when O'Brien was a changeling and watching him interact with Cisco and Cisco's dad's restaurant. Yeah, that's all good episodes. You want to say anything else about Star Trek?
His middle name was Lafayette.
Yes. And then you had to sing for us.
Lafayette. I'm taking this once, but I'm going to go Twitter with bloodstains.
That was Hamilton, in case you...
No, you were supposed to back it up.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to explain to them what you were singing. Lafayette.
It's too late. You're way off beat.
Lafayette.
You're fired.
Lafayette.
You're fired.
Lafayette.
No. Okay. Why don't you talk about...
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm going to talk to you about Supernatural. Season 11. I caught up. I caught up to current. I caught up. So now I have to wait every week to find out what happens.
Oh, no!
It's very emotional for me. I cried. I was like, no, I can't be caught up. I don't want to be caught up. I want to be able to marathon it. So where I am caught up to is, oh no, Lucifer and Sam are in the cage in hell, and Dean and the darkness is wanting to become one with him.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It was kind of fun though to have Mark Pellegrino back, because he hasn't been in several seasons, because he was in a cage in hell, obviously, as one does. So there was a new episode on last night, so hopefully I'll have time to watch it before the hubs gets home.
Yes, because we have like 3 hours of stuff to
Oh
watch
no,
tonight.
we have like 5 hours of stuff to watch tonight. It's not going to happen.
I meant all all the Marvel stuff. Actually, it's more like 2 hours and 15 minutes. Is that
Yeah.
right?
So there's 1 hour, which is more like 42-ish minutes. Captain America.
History of Captain America special.
Yeah, it's 75 years something.
Yes.
Because
he's old. He's old.
Yeah. So because I had to look it up to find it for us to watch later.
And then the first 2 episodes of season 2 of Agent Carter.
Yeah. And then we also have NCIS and NCIS New Orleans. We won't watch all that tonight. It won't happen. There's not.
We're gonna watch all the Marvel stuff. We are gonna do it because if we can like start watching like sometime around like 6:15 maybe, we'll have it.
It depends on what time the Hubs gets home from the university.
He should get home at a reasonable time.
Well, he had intended to be home at a reasonable time last week and then had issues with the bus. Because sometimes the bus gets so full that the drivers won't let anybody else on, especially at rush hour times. Everybody getting off work times. And so he had to wait for another bus, and it was raining, and yeah.
Dear bus, please be on time tonight.
Don't be full.
Don't be full.
Let the traffic flow smoothly.
Smoothly, like a river. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm not sure how that related to Supernatural, but there we are. So since I'm caught up with Supernatural, I had to start watching a new show.
Mm-hmm. It has Lauren Graham in it.
I love Lauren Graham. She's so amazing. So I am watching Parenthood. So when this first came out, I think I started watching it, but then I must have like missed it coming back after some point or something. So I don't remember how far I watched. I know I didn't watch the whole thing. So I am watching that. So I've only watched the pilot because I just started it. And then the Hubs and I are watching season 3 of Grimm and enjoying it. Last night was a Christmas episode.
Oh.
About this anti-Santa Vesson who he's kind of the opposite of Santa, but he dresses up in a Santa costume and he kidnaps kids who are naughty and hangs them in a tree until winter solstice and then eats them. But the guy who's the Vesson, who's this bad Santa, doesn't remember what happens. He just like blacks out for 3 weeks. Yeah.
So, anti-Santa, is that like the Antichrist?
I don't know, maybe.
That was literally my first thought when you said anti-Santa.
Okay. And then the Hubs and I are watching season 9 of Murdoch Mysteries, and they adopted a baby! Murdoch and Dr. Ogden. Both of the baby's parents were criminals, and they got killed. And it was very easy, apparently, to adopt a child back then. It was like the lady...
I want this baby.
Yeah. The lady from the orphanage came and was going to take the baby, and Murdoch and Dr. Ogden had talked about it, and they said, well, actually, we were wondering if we could adopt the baby. And she was like, are you sure? And they were like, yes. And she was like, okay, I'll bring the papers. That was it.
I wanted this baby. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. We have stopped watching The Expanse. We tried. We gave it lots of episodes, didn't we? And it just did not, because we started watching something else new that we'll get to in a few minutes. But we've axed The Expanse. You want to talk about the next thing?
We are watching season 11 of Criminal Minds. I had many emotions.
Cried. Rivers of tears. Is that how the bus should go as smoothly as a river of tears?
Yes, but maybe not quite as salty.
Oh, so do you want to say these things that I typed, or should I say them?
You should say them.
OMG, Spencer and his mom, and Spencer might have it, and oh no.
See, I couldn't say that like you did. It was amazing.
Can you tell them what I'm trying to say? His mom, dementia, maybe early onset Alzheimer's, and Spencer might have it, but it's too early to test for. And Penelope at the end, because she's safe now, and she had a little bit too much to drink, and she was hysterical at the end of the episode. It was so funny. It was really funny.
Are you
Well,
okay?
she was just a little bit tipsy. Yeah. But she's safe now, and that's good. Yeah. The Hubs and I are watching season 9 of The Big Bang Theory and the Heroes Reborn miniseries. And you and I
Yes.
are watching
Season 3 of The Blacklist.
So they got her out, but she's...
At what cost?
Yes. She still was found guilty of the murder of was it the senator?
Mm-hmm.
So she's not an agent anymore. But the show's going on, so something has to work out somehow.
The show must go on.
The new show we started watching.
Watching?
We're watching it. Just Colony.
Not the.
No.
No definite articles.
No, Colony. That's it. Which is...
Indefinite article? Is the an indefinite article?
I don't remember. Maybe you should ask your teacher.
Hey, is the an indefinite article?
Maybe you should ask your other teacher.
I have no other teachers.
Your father?
Oh, he's not here. Hang on, give me your phone. I'm going to ask him.
No. Can I tell them about Colony now?
Yes.
Yes. This is a show on USA Network in the States, and it is done by, what's his name from Lost? Not the actor guy who's in it, the producer guy. I can't think of his name. One of the guys behind Lost he partnered with somebody else for this show, and it's got, what's his name from Lost in it? He played Sawyer.
He has amazing pecs.
What's his name?
You're not laughing.
I'm trying to think of his name.
But my thing is so funny.
What's his name?
I don't know.
Oh, dear. What's his name?
He gave nicknames to everybody.
He did.
Was
Y'all are like yelling it at me.
Sarcastic.
He was. Sawyer.
Sarcastic Sawyer.
Sarcastic Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Holloway.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got other people in it too that we know. Peter Jacobson from House. Mm-hmm. What was she in? She was in something.
I don't remember.
Sarah Wayne Callies is from... Oh, she's from The Walking Dead. That's what she's from. And... who else?
Kim Rhodes.
Yes, from...
Supernatural,
yes. And... I'm trying to remember who else.
Rachel Ligeti? Is that her name?
I think so. I'm trying to... I should just go to the episode and look and see who's in it. Amanda Rigetti. From...
What did I say?
Rachel.
Rachel.
From...
The Mentalist.
The Mentalist. I knew that there was a "the" for that one.
Is that a different...
Oh, and, what's he from? Paul Guilfoyle from CSI.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how you say his name, but... Anyway, it's got lots of people that we know in it. So the premise of this show is aliens came and they segregated areas and put up these huge walls, and you can't go outside the walls. And so this family, that Josh is the father of the family, two of the family's kids were in the zone when this happened, but one of the kids is in another zone and they can't get to him. And he tried to go to them and to rescue him and was caught, and so now they're having him work undercover to ferret out the resistance. But his wife is part of the resistance. We found all this out in the first episode. So, we all said when we watched it that we enjoyed it more than The Expanse. So that's why we axed The Expanse, and hopefully Colony will be amazing and will stay on the air because we liked it. You talk about the next one.
We are watching season 2 of Gallivant. Are you okay?
No! Do you remember what happened at the end?
Yes.
What's his name?
Gallivant?
No, the other one.
Sid?
No, the other. Yes, Sid.
Yes.
Sid stabbed Gallivant.
It was an accident.
It was an accident, but he still stabbed him. Oh, I'm sorry. It was an accident. I didn't mean to stab you.
But
don't die.
Don't worry. It'll all be solved within like this span of a song, maybe 2.
So they're gonna sing a song and he'll be okay. That's how they are gonna heal him from being stabbed with a sword.
Yes. Please breathe.
Yeah. Series 5 of Call the Midwife started.
Yes.
Things are changing. Because chemicals are causing problems and babies are not being born as developed as they should be. So I think that's what they're going to kind of hit on this series, is stuff like that. Oh wait, you talk about the next one.
We're watching season 1 of Supergirl. Yeah.
What's his name flew with her?
Jean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's from Mars.
He's the Martian Manhunter.
Yes. And what's his name now knows that that Supergirl is, what's her name's
Maxwell
sister?
Lord.
And what's the sister's name?
Alex.
Yeah. He put a spy camera on her purse. Bad things are going to happen. And Lois Lane's sister. It begins with an L. Lana?
No, that's Lana Lang.
Maybe it doesn't begin with an L.
I don't remember.
She now is working for Catco.
Yeah.
She was hired as a lawyer, and James was not too keen on this at first. And yeah, what's his name? The guy,
Lucy.
Why didn't I remember that?
I don't know.
What's his name? That guy.
Win.
Yeah, Win. His father was the toy maker. Is the toy maker evil? Putting bombs in toys. Hello, but he kissed Supergirl. Well, not when she was Supergirl. Kara.
Yes.
I have a feeling this is going to change everything. She's really in love with James, but James is with Lucy. We got a problem there. And then the Hubs and I are watching season 7 of NCIS LA.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really funny because Callan and what's the other guy's name? Hannah. They had to go undercover as venture capitalists, and they made Callan be this like really hyper crazy guy, and he was on it was kind of like one of those segways, but it was just the platform of it, and he was like through this office, and this office was like a technology new app company, and they had a slide from the second floor to the first floor, and he was like, I want to go in the slide. It was really funny.
Okay.
Yeah. But don't worry, they caught the bad guys.
Good.
Yeah. They were terrorists. They were bad, but they caught them. So we're okay. For this week at least. And that is all of the television. I told you we had a lot of television, and then it was emotional, didn't I? I told them that. So, all right, well, let's move on and talk about something that maybe is not so emotional. Okay.
And now we're going to talk about our December, January, February Winter Wonderland Cal and Charity Cal.
Yes. So this started on the 1st of December and it runs through the 29th of February. So you have about 5 weeks to go. A little over, maybe 5.5 weeks to go. There's 29 days in February. How many are there in January?
31.
And today's the 20th. So 11 plus 29 is 40. 40 divided by 7 is 35. So 5 weeks and 5 days. There you go. For this is for any project you knit, crochet, weave, or spin that you can convince this is related to winter. No whips are allowed. You have to start your project to the 1st of December or later and finish it by the 29th of February. I forgot to let you tell them how they can relate it to winter.
You can relate it to winter by its color, colorway name, the purpose, pattern name, design element, or if you can't think of any of those, you made it in the winter.
Yes. This is also a charity cal. So if you finish an item for charity, you can post it twice in the FO thread. See the second post in the FO thread for instructions how to do that. Mm-hmm. Yes. And make sure you post it twice because we're not going to go back through and say, oh, well, we need to add another one for this project. So I'm sorry, I have to take a drink of water. So if you don't post it twice, you try to catch it when you go through and look at them and post a reminder to say, hey, you need to post it another time. So the ball's in your court. Okay? Okay. You can double dip in other cals. We have lots of lovely prizes, which we're putting on the screen right now. We talk about these in detail on the first podcast of every month. In the meantime, if you go to our show notes,
geekygirlsknit.com,
you can read all about the prizes, and we'd like to say a huge thank you to our sponsors. Y'all are amazing, and you've given us some amazing things to share with our viewers. Make sure and post your FO in the thread. You can donate to any charity you want. If you would like to send them to us, we'll make a donation to Knit for Peace, but you're welcome to donate them to any other charity. You must be a member of the Geeky Girls Knit podcast group on Ravelry. We'll lock the thread the morning of the 1st of March and draw winners on the podcast after that, and you'll have 30 days to claim your prize if you are a winner or you forfeited, and there's a chatter thread in the group, and I think that's everything, Dammy, except for you telling us who finished projects this week.
Okay. A1 Darwin times 2, Andy, Apache 9 Rose times 5, Army Tink 08, Baby Boxer Mom times 2, C Howard 06 times 2, Crazy Knitting Fool times 2, Crochet Chick 31 times 2, Denise Chang times 2, DG White times 3, Elk Chan times 3, Falling Star 12, Hazy Summers times 2, I Knit Socks 2 times 5, Jessie's Girl 84 times 7, Kaden H 13 times 2, Cat Wings times 4, Kelly Cron, Knitty Nurse McGee, Knitster Monica times 3, KY Spinner, Little Angel SG2 times 3, Elizabeth Dawn, Lizzie B times 5, Looney Hiker times 2, Mantha Mac times 2, MJ Weber, Mother Z times 9, Mystery Sewer times 3, Rainbow Ange, RS Island Crafts, Scrap Fair, Shirley Murley, Spinnis, DVFB times 2, and Twisting Pearls times 2.
Great job, everybody. There was lots of people finishing multiple things this week. That's pretty awesome. So make sure and get your project finished and post it in the thread. Post them twice if it's charity. And we'll hand out these lovely prizes in not very long. All right, let's move on to the next segment.
And now it's time for Ask the Geeky Girls, the part of our show where you ask us things and we answer them.
That's right. So what is this week's question, Dammy?
This week's question comes from Mandy, who is Knitosaurus from Florida. What is your favorite travel project?
I bet you that 98.7% of our viewers could guess mine.
All right. Well, what about the other 1.3%?
Maybe this is their first time watching and they don't know.
Ah.
My go-to travel project? Socks. Because I can knit them on my tiny Zoom Zoom needles. These are 9-inch circulars. And because I can just knit round and round and round and not have to pay attention because it's vanilla. The only times I have to pay attention is when I do the toe. I do that magic loop. And then the heel and the cuff I do on these needles, but I have to pay a little attention to do that. But that is my go-to project because it's also small, so it doesn't take up a lot of room. It only takes one skein of yarn if it's a 100-gram skein. And I can like have conversations with people and pay attention to things while I'm knitting.
Yes.
That's my answer. What is your answer?
Socks. Too. Yes.
Except for you don't do yours on Zoom Zooms.
No.
So do you do them 2 at a time when you're traveling, or do you just do 1 at a time?
2 at a time.
So yours is a little more complex because you have to deal with either 2 smaller balls of wool or outside and inside of a ball.
Mm-hmm.
So, you should try Zoom Zooms. Yeah, probably not. So yeah. So now we're going to ask the question back to you. What is your favorite travel project and why?
Yes.
Yes. I'm guessing some people will say, I'm guessing there'll be quite a few people that say socks, but I'm thinking maybe hats.
Mm-hmm.
If I was like traveling somewhere for a conference or something, I might do something bigger like the puntilla that I'm doing, but if I'm going somewhere where I'm like sightseeing and stuff, I wouldn't want something that big.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, why don't you tell us in the episode thread this week what your favorite travel project is? So, Dammy, if somebody has a question for us, what should they do?
Go to our Ask the Geeky Girls thread in our Ravelry group and post it.
That's right, and we'll answer it. We typically go in order of when they were asked, unless it's a time-sensitive one. All right, let's move on to the next segment. That's it. We finished the show. Yay. We talked a lot, and we're very emotional. So we'd like to remind you about the 52 Weeks of Charity Cal, which we will talk about in detail on the second podcast of each month, but all the details are in the Ravelry group as well as in the show notes. The basic premise of it is that you craft 52 items for charity over the course of 2016. You don't necessarily have to do 1 a week, just 52 total. And we've got some lovely prizes, including 2 of the pom-poms that we just showed. So, and Western Treasure Spinner's yarn and some patterns. So, make sure and check on that. It won't ever be too late to join in. I mean, you could join in December and craft 2 items a day and still participate. So, but it will probably be easier on you if you try to do on average 1 a week. We'd like to say a huge thank you to our Patreon sponsors. Y'all are amazing. If you would like to support the podcast, one of the ways you can do that is by going to patreon.com/geekygirlsknit. And Patreon is a program where you can pledge X amount of dollars per month to the podcast. And we have listed there some of the things that we are wanting to upgrade technology-wise with that money. And in return, you get rewards, like one of the rewards that we dealt with this last week was a VKN, virtual knit night. So, so if you can't help us in that way, it's not a problem at all. We totally understand. But if you would like to support the podcast in that way, that would be amazing. Another way you can support the podcast is when you are shopping on Amazon.com or Amazon.co.uk, if you go through our site first, Amazon gives us a little money back, and that helps pay for primarily shipping of prizes. So, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. Amazon just gives us a little money back. If you'd like to make a one-time donation, there's a PayPal button on our website. Speaking of websites, why don't you tell us where they can find us online?
You can find us at geekygirlsknit.com. There are links to everywhere else we are online. YouTube, iTunes, Ravelry, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc.
Yep. With that, we're going to tell you goodbye. We hope you are having a wonderful knitting week, or crocheting week, or spinning week, or reading week. And that you enjoyed the show. So until next time, happy knitting. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Dammy is a little worried because I was like, what are we going to do for our like outtake at the end? And we couldn't think of something that was like, oh, I have an idea. And she's like, what? And I'm like, you're just going to have to go with it. And she was like, oh no. So are you ready? I have this brilliant idea for a new game show. And here's how it goes. we tell you about someone who is in a show, and you have to guess it based on what we say.
Okay.
So, what's his name? Used to be in that show where there was an airplane and a monster on the island, but then now he's playing what's his name in that new show that there's aliens?
Josh Holloway.
See, that's how it goes. But see, now they're not always going to be that easy.
Okay.
So, what if it's hold on, let me think of a good one. What's her name? This has been a long time ago. It was movies, but then people are trying to remake it, and I don't think that's going to be good because that person, she's always this person this for me.
Anne of Green Gables.
That's not her name.
I don't know her name.
Megan follows. My next clue was going to be she guest starred on ER.
I've never seen ER.
ER's amazing. Okay, let me think of another one. I'm going to try to make it hard.
Make it someone I know, please.
Because it's going to be too easy if I do Harrison Ford or Sean Connery or Patrick Stewart. Let me think. See, I should have thought about this before I started recording.
Nice.
Oh, what's her name? She met up with this guy and he knew her family, but then she's been with that guy who shoots things, but she's also been in lots of other things. Oh, and The Hospital, and curly hair, and
Alex Kingston.
See, curly hair gave it away.
The guy who shoots things?
Arrow.
Oh. Okay, thanks for watching. Tune in next time.
Would that be a brilliant game show?
The guy who shoots things. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.